Hi, I haven't figured out a proper introduction yet, so we're gonna keep working on that. But hi, Will Carnahan here. Welcome to my next video. This video is actually gonna be a new video, the first video in a series that I wanna try where I'm working with and helping other YouTubers. So I have a friend who has a YouTube channel out here, and he has been filming for quite a bit now. He's an outdoorsman. He calls himself a jack of all trades outdoorsman, a hunter, a hiker. The idea for this series that I have is that I'll hang out and join other YouTubers and use their gear while sort of reviewing it, but more like just talking about it and showing you what they're using to do their channel. And I'll go with them on the activity that they're into, and I'll shoot with them with their own gear, alongside maybe some of my other gear, and then we can kind of talk about it. And I think this is gonna be really cool because everyone's different perspective, right? These are tools, right? They're brushes that you can use to do your own art. And I think it's really cool that every person has their own sort of take or look on stuff. So the plan is I'm gonna do a series, and this is the first one of this kind of shooting. I went out with Goose, his name's Goose. He has a channel called A Day in the Field. And so what I did was I went out there, I took his camera, he shoots on a Sony A6600 with a zoom lens and a bunch of other stuff that we'll get into. And I just went with him for a day and shot stuff. I took all this footage and I edited a small video together talking about the camera stuff, talking about being out there with him. It's interesting getting to know how he does it on his own. It's very difficult to shoot hunting while you're on your own. And then he's gonna take all the same footage and he's gonna edit something together with his own narration, his own introduction, and we'll be able to tandemly see both videos and see the different perspective with the same event and pretty much the same footage, right? For now, in the description below, there'll be a link to his channel and there'll be a link to his video. Eventually it should be up. I'm not sure who's posting their video first or not. He's been doing this for quite a bit, and you can see he's got like a ton of stuff already in the can. Really interesting being out there with him. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a hunter. I've never been around hunting. I don't even really know anyone who has been hunting, and we decided to go turkey hunting. There are no turkeys shot in this film. We never even fired a gun. I don't have a license, he does. He knows all the regulations, all the rules. I've always sort of judged hunting a little bit, but I've never really known anything about it. And this was also an opportunity for me to like see what it's all about. I am going into this knowing zero, knowing nothing. And I got to talk to him off and on camera about how he feels, you know, the stigmas of hunting. He is very big on understanding and knowing the ecosystem, the animals. This is something I never really knew about hunters, and their opinions on humans and nature and the life cycle and the relationship with everything, the ecosystem. I mean, this guy was out there picking up trash. He really cares about the environment he's in. And I think that's just a crazy new perspective that I hadn't even really, you know, gotten into or talked to. But this video I've shot on several different cameras. I used his camera mostly, the Sony A6600. And for now, so you know what camera I'm shooting on, we also use my Leica Q2, which I'm shooting on right now. I will put a little indicator in the corner so you know what camera you're looking at. We also use some GoPros, there's a drone, yeah. If you want to do something like this, let me know. Put you know, a link to your channel down below in the description. Send me a message on Instagram. I check that out probably more than anything else. My handle is William Carnahan. Yeah, so without further ado, hope you enjoy the video.
C1 on the top is the audio, I think is audio recording level.
Yeah, what's it like to have someone potentially filming you instead?
It's probably gonna bring up a whole lot of feelings.
Goose started his GoPro and basically handed me his camera. Not only did he hand me his camera, but he also dressed me up in camo. As you can see, I didn't have any of my own camo. So I'll be shooting on Goose's Sony A6600 under his settings. He shoots at 30 frames per second. He doesn't use any ND filters. Everything's on auto. He's got an 18 to 105, I believe, Sony lens. He's got that dual mic set up. And you can tell right away, I tried using my iPhone mini 13 just to start. Compared to the Sony, it was having a hard time getting focus in low light. And I tried to do manual for a little bit. You can tell that I definitely wasn't nailing it the entire time. But low light's a little tough. And you can see, like, I just blew the focus. And maybe I'm not used to this camera, and I tried to do manual, but I might as well go ahead and use auto. Why not? As Goose laid down some, animal calls to see if we could hear some gobblers howling back or clucking back, I was trying to deal with the autofocus, and I found that the end of the lens is much better looking wise. Still having trouble in the low light getting the autofocus to really function well. Clearly all we got back was crows.
This is a spot I know we're going to see turkeys because they always come through here. Oh, is he? So they come right there where we walked in. Okay. You got to tell me what you think now.
It's pretty cool. I think what I didn't notice is that, like, how quiet and how many things you can hear. Like, in general, like, you think about, like, I'm listening to every single, like, tweet, and I never would have thought that, like, I can recognize those things, and it's calm and quiet. Goose had found a spot where we could sit and just see if we can wait for some turkeys to come by. Again, I'm trying to shoot on the long lens, and I thought I'd take out my iPhone mini 13 to show you the full rig. He's got the dual audio setup, and we're all covered out in camo. So we just sit and we wait. And you can tell the exposure from the iPhone is just trying to catch as much light as it can. It's blowing everything out.
I sit here a lot, especially if I'm not hearing anything in the morning. Because I know they'll come through here at some point during the day. But if we walked in and one was just angry and one just go after it, and one kicks up, well, get up.
So we sat and we waited and we waited. We used the GoPros to do a little bit of time-lapsey things, and I played around with the A6600, which is fine. I didn't have a small tripod on it, so I was using my hand most of the time. But the auto stabilizer actually works pretty great in it, as well as like practiced camera hands. But I did bring along my Leica Q2, as you can see here, and I shot that at 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second later. And the color rendering is nice, for sure, but it is a smaller camera, and the autofocus is not good, especially when it's trying to do face detecting and your face is covered up. So I noticed that right away, that you can't really see my face very well. We did get to see some deer. They just came upon us. We were hiding, so they're hard for us to see. Here again is the Leica Q2, doing some steady push-ins. The autofocus definitely getting better when there's more light and you can see a human face. So good on you, Leica Q2. You can see his little A6600 is like camoed out a little bit. It's got a cage. It's pretty great, especially when the lens is on the long end. It was a little bit harder for me to film myself because at the time, right now, I didn't know that you could flip the screen out. You know, honestly, for the size of the camera, going out in nature like this and hunting, it's fantastic. And the autofocus was doing much better with the more light that you have.
All your deer and stuff is in the fall. Turkeys in the spring. Okay. We have a fall turkey season, but it's like it's a little bit of an afterthought.
It's fun trying to make a camera do face detection while your face is covered up. It actually did a pretty good job, but again, this 18-105, I love the end of this lens. I think it looks really good. And here I'm just like rock steady following Goose. The foreground looks really awesome. The out of focus looks nice. Yeah, it looks really good. This is where it really sings. You see at the end of the lens here, we're early morning light. Goose and I got up at like 4:30 a.m. to get out here, but this nice soft morning light on his face, the end of the lens, you can see it hunts for like a little second right there. The autofocus is looking, and that can be adjusted in the settings, but I think this looks really nice, especially when you're trying to tell a story and he's listening for a callback. Since coming to Tennessee, I haven't really flown the drone yet, but it is beautiful. It is so green, and you can't even tell that that's where we're walking through, right? It doesn't even look like there's places for us to walk. We drove to a second location. The light's getting a little harsher, but luckily under the cover of all the trees, it looks really beautiful. Tennessee is a very, very beautiful state.
There should be like an, or maybe not a field, but like an open space over there.
So we can spend a day in it? Goose stops. I try to stop. How can you tell that it's fresh?
Because it's so soft.
Soft. It's nice and soft. Soft. And just then, as I was using my Q2 to film the A6600, Goose saw something ahead. A couple of turkey hens. And unfortunately, I could not grab the focus fast enough. Not the camera's fault, I just, not used to it.
This kind of stuff is what they like to nest in.
I didn't catch it on camera.
That's okay. How could you?
Was that a gobbler?
It was two hens.
It still look pretty big for hens.
All right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Will.
Yes.
We've seen turkeys.
We saw turkeys.
You've experienced a very mild and boring turkey hunt.
Was it mild and boring?
It was mild and boring. It should be like firing off and calling and strutting and.
This is just exactly what I thought hunting was.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm glad the bar was set low. So you ready to buy your license?
Yeah. I like being out here.
Okay,
you know
that's
what
a good start.
While we were walking, was how cool it would be to I should have like a big long lens and like all camoed out, and just while you set up to shoot, I set up to shoot.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that would be more my speed. But I like the trailing and the tracking. Is that what you call it?
Tracking.
The tracking and the like peacefulness and the quiet and being outside. It's tight. But do you need a license for that?
No.
Just to hang out with you?
No, you don't need a license just to hang out with me.
I don't know if I necessarily want to like shoot anything. But I like documenting it.
Okay. You'll shoot.
I'll shoot. You shooting. Like we're shooting. But it's cool. I have like a mad respect for it, especially after like trudging through here and watching you like track. I think that part of it is like, I don't know, something people don't quite understand. They just think of the gun part.
Yeah.
Well, now I just discovered the screen flips out. So I can actually see myself. This is what I get for not understanding the camera to start with. I would have been filming myself a little bit more if I remembered the screen came out. Anyway, what a wonderful time to be out there with Goose. I really did love the camera that he's working with, and I can see how hard it would be for him to shoot this stuff on his own. Go check out his channel, go see what he's done with this camera and some GoPros. He's done a pretty good job of it considering how hard it is to film yourself on your own. And for you of you that are out there on your own, remember, you just got to do it. Just go for it. Goose is really doing a great job with his A6600, and it is a wonderful camera to get started with. I would recommend it if you're just starting out. The Leica is a little bit tougher, especially because this particular Leica doesn't have an output to see yourself if you're filming yourself, but it's always good to have multiple cameras. I really enjoyed working with it, and man, I can't wait to do more filming with other YouTubers. So again, let me know down in the comments what I can do better, what I can do more of, what I can do less of. This is definitely a learning experience for me, and I don't want this to be a camera review necessarily, but just exploring and experimenting what it's like with someone else's gear and what they love to do and what their channel is about. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Those things are important. And please check out Goose's channel, A Day in the Field, because that was a great day in the field. Talk to you next time.